Hello all, welcome back to New Chapters. My name is Sarah, and if this is your first time joining me, I just want to say thank you for stopping by for this chapter of my life. I'm a hobby hopper, so if this isn't the content you usually watch me for, I do hope you enjoy this hobby as well, and will stick around for today's video. Today is going to be another WIP&Chat. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress. I'm still working on my Enablers Outpost kit. This is the Winter Girl kit. It is unfortunately no longer available, but I will link to the Enablers Outpost website in my description box so you can check out the other kits that they have available. Kind of some housekeeping things just to get us started off. I'm still kitted up in my Elizabeth Ward tray that I have over off to the side. I am back to using my Diamond Art Club pin here. Unfortunately, it is broken on this side, so you guys will have to forgive that. So I'm just using their single placer, the metal tip. On this side, I have some washi tape in here just to keep it in place. And then I'm using the Diamond Art Club release papers on this kit. I do still have my tweezers from Dreamer Designs over here just in case I need them, but they will not be the things that I'm using to place primarily. But I am still using my Firefly Diamond Art tray. This has the multiple grids here at the bottom. So I have all of these guys in here. There's a regular plate as well, but I'm actually going to be using this single place grid again since I now am back to using my pen. So if you guys have watched any of my other WIP&Chats, you might have seen I've been using my tweezers to single place because I was having difficulties in my very first WIP&Chat with my putty that I was using in my pen. It kept sticking it to the drills, and basically they weren't coming apart from each other, and it was making it very frustrating. So I actually recently purchased some of the glue dots. I think it's from, I'm trying to remember, I think Glue Dots is actually the name of the brand. I'll link to the set that I bought down below. It came with some of the micro glue dots, the mini glue dots, and the small size glue dots. So I have a, let's see, not the micro, but I have a mini glue dot in my pen now. So I'm going to be diamond painting using that today. So I believe that is all of my housekeeping things kind of out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and move this release paper over, and I found this H symbol over here is the crystals. And so I try not to diamond paint any of those lowercase h's at the very edge because they're a little bit bigger than the regular diamonds I find. So it makes it a little harder to place them. Whoops, that is not straight at all. Makes it a little harder to place them if they're right up along the edge of my release paper. So I try to make sure I'm at least a little bit over. That'll have to be good enough for right now. I can adjust it later if I need to. All right, so here is my section for today's WIP&Chat. I am sure I will not finish by the time that we finish today's video. You'll have to forgive if my tripod is a little shaky today. I have a standing desk and I am choosing to stand today, but I'm noticing that's making everything a little wobbly as I kind of shift my weight back and forth. The whole tripod seems to be shaking just a tiny bit, so hopefully it doesn't do it too much and you guys won't really notice it at all. So before I get into talking about my life, how are you guys doing? What's going on in your lives? What sorts of things have you guys been up to as per usual? Any good, bad, ugly, otherwise? Let me know about it in the comments down below. Again, if I can offer any sort of emotional support for anybody, I will happily do that. I'm hoping that we can offer each other support as need be throughout this whole process with the community. I'm not sure how this angle is going to be for you guys today. I wanted to try to be a little bit closer so that hopefully you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing, but I might be a little bit, I'm trying to see if I can figure out a better angle so you guys can see me picking up things and my hand's not too in the way and you can actually see what's happening here. But I know sometimes you guys like to be closer to the canvas so you can actually see the symbols. So I'm trying out something a little bit different. So we'll see how I like it. Maybe I typically pull from the left here, my diamonds, but maybe coming from the right is a little bit better so I'm not going in front of the camera. I don't know. We'll see. It's a little bit of a learning process, as you guys know. So, kind of jumping into some different updates and things for you guys. I'm probably going to try to keep this to under 30 minutes if I can. Apple put out a new update recently, and I've noticed my phone storage basically got cut in half because, of course, it did. So I don't have quite as much space to film for longer than 30 minutes or so. So if there's kind of a weird pause or a weird cutoff, I'll try to catch it before it shuts down, but my phone might kick me out and say I don't have enough storage to keep filming a little bit before I hit my 30-minute mark. So I might have to take a break and upload everything and then come back. So the angle and stuff might change just a tiny bit as well. But hopefully, as I said, hopefully I can catch it and kind of minimize any movement and shaking and all that kind of stuff, so that it's still kind of the same camera angle. But kind of general life update and things for me. If you guys have been watching my other WIP&Chats, you will know that I am looking for a job. And I believe the last time we talked in my last WIP&Chat, I had done a interview for a like part-time like community educational center for youth. I had done a part-time interview for them, and they had told me I should apply to a full-time position that they had available as well. They thought I'd make a good candidate for that position. So I had put in an application for that. And unfortunately, I heard back from the full-time, like people who were doing the interviews for the full-time position, and they told me that they had basically already made their decisions before I applied. So they appreciated that I applied, but they were not going to select me. They already had their candidates selected. So unfortunately, that position was a no. And then I believe I told you guys as well that in my job hunt, I had applied to a position at the library. It was like an adult education position was the name of it. And they also responded back and they told me they did not want to interview me for that position either. So was hoping third time was the charm for the library, but they did not want me for that position either. So still working on actually securing a job at this point in time. But hopefully I hear back from the part-time position that I applied to at least. So hopefully I have at least some sort of position soon, but we'll see. In the process of applying for the full-time position from the like community youth agency, I'd found another job as well that was kind of related. So it popped up as I was applying to things. And it is a like youth psychiatric facility that's asking for like people to kind of come in and assist on a full-time basis with just kind of the day-to-day operations. I think it's a little bit about like caring for the kids that are at the facility as well as like helping them meet like therapeutic goals and things like that. So I applied to that position and they actually just emailed me back and set up an interview for next week. So that gives me hopefully another opportunity for a full-time position. So I've got some mixed feelings about it. I think it's a position that I could definitely see myself being good at, but it's kind of a far drive. It's like a 50+ minute commute, kind of depending on the day and the traffic and all of that. So I'm not in love with the commute aspect of it. But again, right now, beggars can't be choosers. I am looking for a job and I just need something. Really, anything that will take me is good right now. So excited that I have another interview. So hopefully another possibility for something that's full time, since all the other full time positions kind of haven't panned out. But I'm still hopeful that if nothing else, I still have hopefully the part time position that's like open to me. They haven't made a decision yet, but as I said, I kind of feel like they seem to think I was kind of overqualified. So unless they just don't choose me because I am overqualified, hopefully that means I at least have a shot at getting the part-time position, since the full-time position did not want to do an interview. Let's see here. So that's kind of my job update for right now. Another interview, but nothing secured as of yet. Let's see here. What else has been going on? Oh, yes, my spending struggles. So I thought I would talk to you guys briefly about kind of, because of me staying home and things. I have a short about kind of, being a hobby hopper and how I very much so throughout my life have like found different hobbies that I enjoy, and I'll buy up a whole bunch of things for it, and then I inevitably switch hobbies and end up spending a whole bunch of money on some other hobby. And while I typically cycle through things, so like I'll end up going back to other hobbies like baking or um, like paper crafting and things like that. I definitely have found that being at home for the last couple of months without a job has made me much more trigger happy on my purchases, which is not good because I don't have any income coming in right now. So I'm basically just spending money at a deficit. I'm not bringing anything in any month. I'm just simply spending money. And that is not the healthiest or best sort of situation to be in. Um, so I have been really struggling with like actually keeping myself from spending money on hobbies and just generally. Like when we moved into our rental unit, I went a little bit spending happy at that point in time because, I didn't realize I was going to be quitting my job within 2 months from that point. And since we didn't end up buying a house and we just decided to rent somewhere because that was more affordable for us right now, we ended up buying quite well. I shouldn't even say we, it was me. I ended up spending quite a bit of money on just like different home items, like different storage things and just different things for our new place. And was like, well, since we're not buying a house right now, I'm okay with like spending a little bit of our house fund to just buy things for the new place. And then I was like, I'll just replenish the house fund as each month I'll just replenish everything a little bit, and we'll build it back up by the time that we're looking to move out and like thinking about buying a house again. Well, at that time, I think I kind of itched my spending bug, and I have really struggled to like rein it in since then. And now that I've been at home, like, I mean, I basically am just sitting around, like, you know, thinking about different things that I could buy, which is horrible because then I'm just sitting there and I spend like 3 hours scrolling through Amazon, and then I'm like, well, I might not need all of these things, but I could really use this one thing. So then I end up convincing myself to buy that one thing, or I put something in my cart and go, okay, I'm not going to buy it right now. I'm just putting it in my cart to like save it for later. Well, and then I end up deciding that like later there's something on Amazon that I do want or need to buy. And then instead of like taking things out of my cart, I'm like, well, if I'm buying one thing, I might as well go ahead and buy the things that are in my cart, which is such a horrible habit to be in. And I really don't understand how or why I'm in this habit. Like, I don't know when this developed. I have not always been that way. I used to be very much like, I got $100 in my bank account and I was like, I'm never going below $100. And then was like, I have $200 or $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. And I'd kind of like reach those milestones and I'd feel really attached to my money and be like, okay, I'm happy to spend, whatever amount of money I have over that $2,000. But then once I had $3,000, it was like, well, I really don't want to spend less than, or I don't want to spend enough that I have less than $3,000 in my account. So basically, I used to be a lot better at saving money and not spending all of my money. And I don't know, something happened at some point, and I just flipped a switch basically and was like, I don't care anymore. I'll spend all my money apparently because that's kind of the state I've been in the last few months. Um, so yeah, it has been a struggle to not get in that like FOMO, that fear of missing out. And I find that diamond painting, as much as I love it and I'm enjoying it, and clearly am like, influencing potentially to some extent by doing these WIP&Chats and showing people my stash and things like that, and potentially encouraging others, including myself, to spend. It's not like I'm not watching other people's diamond painting videos going, I want that kit, thank you. But like, I don't know. I really have to stop spending as much money, buying as many kits, buying as much craft supplies, buying as much home stuff. Like, it really is across the whole board. Like, I have to stop spending money on everything. It's not just one category, it's every category I'm overspending on right now. And it's also funny to me because, like, there are some things that, like, are truly needs. Like, for the longest time, I needed a winter coat. And instead of buying a winter coat, because I felt like that was too much money to spend, I would just wear two light jackets. Like, I had like a kind of a fleecy kind of jacket, and then I had a like a rain jacket. It wasn't even a rain jacket, it was like a windbreaker that I could layer over top of each other. And I felt like I could get away with just wearing those instead of wearing a winter coat. And like, keep in mind, I'm in the Midwest. Like, it does get cold. It snows here almost every year. Like, it's not like it's California and I can say, we don't get below 50 degrees most of the time. No. So instead of buying a coat, I would always be like, well, that's too much money. But then it's like, oh, a new kit released from Diamond Art Club? I will happily spend, you know, $80 on that because that's what I want. But instead of spending $80 on a jacket because that was too much money, I'll spend $80 on a whim at Diamond Art Club. And again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just, it drives me nuts that I'm like spending money on things that I don't actually need, but then the things that I do need, I'm like refusing to buy. But then I spend money on a new kit, and it's like, well, now I can't spend the $80 on a jacket because now that's $160 between the two of them. And like, my gosh, it's just ridiculous. And as I said, staying at home all the time has just given me more time to watch other people's videos and be more influenced and to check like the Diamond Art Club website all the time or to scroll through Amazon. And like, I don't know. I can only imagine the sort of productive I could be if I was actually, spending my day not on my cell phone, scrolling through apps, shopping for hours on end, and then telling myself, no, no, you can't do this right now. And then still choosing to buy things, you know, 2 days later. Anyway, ugh. But yeah, so that's kind of a rambly rant, I'm sure, at this point, but that has been a struggle for me. So I guess my question for you guys is, are you guys also in a spending phase right now in your life? Or if you have been and you're not currently, what sort of tips and tricks do you guys have to help somebody who's genuinely needing to stop spending money but is really struggling? And I mean, to be honest, I haven't tried that hard. I kind of chide myself about it when I'm spending the money, but I'm not. I think that's part of the problem, right? Like, I'm not actively thinking about it. I don't think about it until after I've spent the money and it's too late, and then I feel bad and guilty about it. But if it is any sort of like, somewhat on the lines of a spending addiction, like, that just ends up making you feel guilty and feel bad, which can encourage more spending because putting those items in your cart or clicking the checkout button helps release those like endorphins that make it so addicting to begin with to be online shopping or shopping in general. So it kind of becomes a horribly bad habit for itself. All right. I believe that my phone storage here is dwindling down. So I'm going to place a few more diamonds here and then I will be back in a moment. I'll go ahead and take what I just recorded off my phone and put it on a hard drive so that I can keep going. So I will be right back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys, I am back. You are a little bit closer now. I can't get my tripod to quite hold you up as high as you were before. So hopefully it's not too close for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing still. I'm thinking maybe for my next WIP&Chat, maybe I'll try doing like an angle that's closer to the table and maybe try to angle you guys sideways instead of doing the overhead shot, just to see if that gives you guys a better visual angle of kind of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So my hand's not in the way, hopefully. But yeah, so that's kind of been my spending difficulties as I was talking about earlier, or just a second ago, I guess, for you guys. um, But the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about is our blinds situation. So last week we talked about how we got new windows installed, and I believe I told you in that video that they had said, that they basically had to take the blinds down in front of the windows in order to install them correctly, because they had to kind of like cut into the window frame in order to actually put them where they needed to be. And so they took those down, and then we tried to put them back up ourselves, and we weren't able to. We didn't have the tools that we needed to put them back in. We didn't have any like power tools that were strong enough to put them back up ourselves. So we'd reached out to our landlord to see if they could get maintenance to come and put them back up for us. So we were able to get maintenance out this week to put our blinds back up. So we finally have a little bit of privacy again. So I feel a lot better about that. I know my partner was also a little upset about the whole blinds being down all week situation. So we now have our blinds back up, and we can kind of go about our business as we would like to without worrying about other people being able to see into our place, especially at night. So that is awesome. The only problem we've had since then is I told you guys last week that there was kind of, when we moved in, there were some Christmas lights left on the outside of the unit that we're in by the former tenants, and they were knocking against the side of the house last week in my last WIP&Chat video, and they've been kind of swinging against the side of the house in the wind since the windows got replaced. I'm thinking that maybe they clipped them or something, or snagged them, and like one of the things that was holding them in place broke off, so it was smacking the side of the house and driving me nuts since it was right outside of my office. And like the little plastic like base that the plug plugs into was just, every time the wind would blow by, it would knock it into like the wood frame, so it just echoed throughout the whole upstairs. So I had been trying to figure out how to deal with this problem because it was starting to drive me bonkers. So my stepdad's parents live in the same town that my partner and I moved to, and I was like, "Hey, you guys don't happen to have a ladder that is tall enough to reach a two-story building, do you?" And they were like, "We actually do have something that should work." And I was like, "Awesome. Do you guys mind if I borrow that for a couple of days and try to get these Christmas lights down off of the side of the unit that we moved into?" And they were like, "Nope, that's fine." Well, I didn't think about the fact their truck is not big enough to hold this ladder, apparently. Well, my little baby car definitely was not big enough to hold this ladder. So I had gone through all of this effort of, texting my stepdad's stepmom and was like, "Hey, I'm coming by. I'll swing by in just a minute to grab the ladder." And man, I tried for a good, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to put that thing in my car. And it wasn't going to work. And like, they live a few streets over. I probably could have gotten away with just throwing it in my car and like having it stick out the back of my trunk. But it was like, is it really worth driving this ladder a few streets over to try to deal with this problem? Because when I went to leave, I was like really staring at the Christmas lights on the house, and I was like, you know what? I bet you that piece that is causing all these problems is low enough that we could stand on our step stool, just like our normal step stool, and reach it, um, to be able to, like, I don't know, cut off the plug or secure something around it. Like, I was going to use like bubble wrap or something and like secure it up around there. So at least if it knocked against the side of the house, it wasn't going to echo like it had been. Um, so I was like, I'll just leave the ladder for right now. If we really truly need it, we'll figure out how to get it from here to there without me being concerned about it falling out of the back of my car. So, did not grab the ladder, but I told my boyfriend about it when I got home, and he kindly got up on the ladder and was going to just snip the plug. Um, and we happened to catch our neighbor who shares a wall with us, and we're like, hey, before we mess with these Christmas lights, we just want to make sure they're not yours. And he was like, absolutely not. You do whatever you need to get them down. He was like, the last tenant was supposed to take them down before they moved out. Clearly they didn't, and I'm surprised that the landlord didn't have somebody come by and take them down before you guys moved in. Um, so he was like, whatever you guys got to do, I totally understand if it's bugging you. Like, take them down, do what you got to do. Well, in that process, we found out that apparently the Christmas lights had just been stapled into the side of the house, basically. So when my partner went to pull on the Christmas lights, just to like see how secure they were, they just like popped right off the side of the house. So it ended up not requiring a ladder at all, at least to get them started. And unfortunately, at the very peak of our 2-story unit, they seem to be nailed into the like wooden frame of the house instead of just stuck up there with screws, or not with screws, with staples. So unfortunately, while he was trying very gently to rip them down, it ended up pulling. We thought like the plugs would pull apart because there were multiple strands of lights just like connected together with the plugs, and it ended up being that the plug was so like welded shut and rusted, probably from how long it's been um, just hanging out there on the house, because apparently they've been up for like 2 or 3 years according to our neighbor. um, that it actually ended up pulling the strand of lights apart right outside of the plug unit. So like the plugs didn't even come apart from each other, it ended up being the actual strand of wires that went into the plug ripped from the lights while he's trying to pull them down. And so that meant, of course, that we now had a strand of lights where it like broke apart with a plug attached to it, and like a quarter of a strand of the next set of lights are now just dangling from the dead center point of this 2-story unit that nobody can get to, and are definitely going to require somebody who has much better tools than any of us apparently do to get them to come down. So luckily, we did resolve the it smacking against the side of my office here problem, and fortunately, I'm sure I'm jinxing myself by saying this, but fortunately, where it seemed to have broken off, we can't hear it hitting the side of the unit at all. So hopefully, I don't jinx myself and start hearing noises in the middle of the night. But I think that the uh, like strand where it broke, because it's now in the center of the house, it doesn't actually get a lot of wind. Like the unit blocks most of the wind, so it keeps it, even if it is windy, from like hitting the exterior of the unit, or at least it's hitting like the siding of it instead of a piece of wood, so it's not like reverberating throughout the whole house anymore. So it did solve the problem for the most part. Now we just have an awkward chunk of Christmas lights hanging from our from the peak of our roof. Um, but at least it's not driving me nuts and keeping me up at night and waking me up in the middle of the night. It was driving me insane. I mean, it was bad enough during the day, like in my office, sitting here trying to do stuff and could hear it just over and over and over hitting the side of the house. But waking me up in the middle of the night, I was going to get really grumpy really quickly if I wasn't sleeping through the night. So we were able to solve the problem, though not quite in the way that I had imagined we were going to be solving it. But as I said, for the most part, it seems like it's okay for right now. Hasn't been bugging me too much, so we'll see how it goes long term. And eventually, our neighbor is supposed to be getting their windows, like new windows installed in their unit as well. So our current hope and plan is that we can either talk to the landlord or just talk to the people who are removing the windows and replacing them. And since they have ladders that can actually get all the way up to that peak, see if maybe they're willing to get up there and yank the rest of the Christmas lights down so that they're off of his side of the building as well. But they are fully removed from our side of the building at least. So I guess we solved our part of the problem to some extent, as long as, again, they don't cause any problems with it when it's windy or stormy hitting the side of the house. But we'll have to wait and see. We won't really know until it's been super windy and stormy again. So that's kind of an update on the windows. So I think the only other things I had to talk about today really are diamond painting related, actually. So I haven't really had a lot of diamond painting updates or news or anything like that for my last couple of WIP&Chats, but I figured today we could actually talk about a couple of diamond painting things too. So one thing that I noticed that I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention in case you didn't know, when I was doing my stash video, I had realized that the Diamond Art Club website had a feature that when I looked up the kits that I was trying to just, look up the names of the kits and making sure I had the artist names correct and like what the dimensions of the kit were and all of that kind of stuff for that video, I noticed that the website has a like kind of little notification when you click on the piece that says like you've already purchased this kit, or if for some reason it doesn't say that but you have purchased it, you can click on a little button that's like, I've already purchased this kit, please like update my account with this information. And I thought that was a pretty cool feature because in that stash video I had talked about there's a kit by Peggy Collins. I believe it's Stained Glass Flower Garden is the name of the piece, that I really liked. And I had just added it to my like wish list. Like I wanted to be notified when it came back in stock because I was like, man, this is a piece I really, really like. And I think I really would like it. Probably back in like November or December. And then when I was doing my stash video at the beginning of January, I realized that I already owned that kit. And I absolutely would have bought a second version of it if I hadn't realized doing that stash video that I already had bought it once. So I noted in my stash video that I thought it was really cool that the website had like a you've already purchased this kit sort of notification banner that would pop up when you clicked on the kit, but that it kind of sucked. The app didn't have something similar because most of the time when I'm looking at Diamond Art Club stuff, I am on the app and not on the desktop or the web browser version of it. So I was like, man, it would be really cool if they brought that feature to the app, and they did. They now have that feature on the app too. So if you're on the Diamond Art Club's, if you're on Diamond Art Club's like app, it shows you now a little like red banner at the top of any kit you've purchased. Or again, if for some reason a kit you've purchased has not indicated that you, like if it doesn't tell you that you purchased it, or say somebody gifts you a kit or something like that, you can click a little banner that says, I already purchased this kit before. So I just think that's really cool that they now have that because, again, it's just something that keeps you from accidentally buying a kit you really love a second time if you forgot that you have purchased it before. So it's just handy, I think, just to have that information available to you while you're shopping. Now, on the flip side of that, going back to my spending problem, that's definitely one thing that I'm planning to do. There's one kit that I am waiting to come back in stock on Diamond Art Club's website that I've been waiting for since like Thanksgiving. So I still have the app downloaded right now, but that's part of my promises to myself is that once that kit comes back in stock and I can feel more okay about not checking the website habitually every single day to see if that kit's back in stock, I am going to discontinue my use of the app. I'm going to delete it off of my phone because at least if I have to go to the website, I feel like I'm a little more kind of accountable to myself about that than if I were to uh, keep the app, because it's just so easy to open it up and scroll through things and then spend money because, there's a new kit that I love that I just can't live without. Um, but I did think it was a cool feature that they've added to the app, and definitely something that I think was missing before that. All right, and then my other diamond painting thing that I wanted to talk about, and at this point, it probably is going to be old news by the time you guys actually see this, but just the fact that Hannah Lynn is no longer renewing her contract with Diamond Art Club, so all of her kits are on their final editions with Diamond Art Club. Um, I don't think I have any of Hannah Lynn's kits. I did have several of them on my wish list though, but again, I'm really trying not to spend money. So I have refrained from buying anything in kind of the mad rush of everybody trying to get her kits while they still can. It's my understanding that anything that's currently out of stock from her and Diamond Art Club, there's still going to be like one final restock of everything. But anything that was on the website, I believe that was their final run of kits. And once they were out, they were out. So I know there was kind of a mad dash on the Diamond Art Club website and on the Facebook pages, like the D-stash groups and things like that, where people were like kind of very quickly trying to get their hands on the kits that they wanted that were Hannah Lynn kits. And I mean, you never know. She very well might end up being picked up by another Diamond Art, or not Diamond Art Club, but another Diamond Art company. We don't know for sure at this point in time. And I'm not sure if she'll necessarily announce that or anything anytime in the immediate future if that is something that she's planning to do. But I thought that was kind of interesting that she's no longer with Diamond Art Club, and that it created a little bit of a panic, to be honest, from what I could tell, of people trying to get her kits, which, I mean, I get it. If she's one of your favorite artists or something, it would be quite a shock and probably a little scary if you're like, oh my gosh, like, I love all of her stuff. I have all these kits on my wish list, and I'm not going to be able to buy them anymore, or I'm going to have to track them down through like a D-stash group. And so I understand kind of the panic that came about with it, but I thought it was definitely interesting. I guess I haven't paid enough attention to the diamond art community kind of before now to know what sort of things have arisen when people do become discontinued artists for any of the diamond art companies, and kind of what that looks like and how much chaos can kind of ensue from trying to get those kits while you still can. Because, I mean, the FOMO is something that happens anyway, but man, I think it gets way worse when you know for sure that something is like, this is the final round of it and we are not going to be able to get it anymore beyond that point. So it was definitely a bit of a mad rush, and I know people were trying to tell other people, like, please don't go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a kit by Hannah Lynn just because you really love it and you can't get it from Diamond Art Club anymore. Like, please don't pay outrageous prices for something, even if you love it. And I mean, everybody do what you want to do with your own money, but I understand that thought process too of like, you got to have a limit, because otherwise people are going to take advantage of that whole situation. Especially if there were kits that they already didn't love that much or weren't that attached to. So be careful out there if you are looking for any of those Hannah Lynn kits now, that she's no longer going to be continuing her contract as an artist with Diamond Art Club. But I am starting to run out of space on my phone again. Oh, that one's tiny. That is a baby diamond. Couldn't tell from the tray there. The white ones are hard to see on the white tray, but everything else is pretty easy to see. But I am running out of time here on my phone. So I'm gonna take what I've seen from some other diamond art creators on YouTube here, and I hope they don't mind that I am kind of taking their idea and running with it for my channel as well, hopefully. But I like the idea of like asking you guys to leave a certain kind of emoji in the comment section of this video if you've made it to the end of the video. So I'm thinking for this very first video, I'll give you two options. If you guys want to leave something that is diamond painting related, whether that's just like a diamond symbol, or since I was talking about those Christmas lights earlier in the video, maybe if you want to leave an emoji that is like about Christmas or Christmas lights, so maybe like Santa or like a light bulb, or heck, even like a house or a present or a Christmas tree or something that's kind of reminiscent of the Christmas light situation. I would love for you guys to leave a comment of that down below if you've made it to the end of this video. And one other request I have for you guys is if you haven't seen it or commented on it yet, I did post a short not too long ago, and I'll make sure to link it as like a related video to this one, where I asked my viewers to help me design my next nail art set. So since you guys get a close up of my fingers, I thought maybe you guys might like to have a say in what they look like in upcoming videos. So if you haven't already watched it, or if you have watched it and you haven't commented yet, if you guys would share your insights as to which color and pattern you would most like to see on my nails next, I would greatly appreciate it. As of the filming of this, I've had quite a few people watch it, but I haven't had anybody comment yet. So if you guys are willing to help me out and let me know what you guys want to see on my nails moving forward, at least for the next couple weeks, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate it. And it's something that if I get enough like participation, I'll probably do it more in the future. So when I do my gel manicures, kind of asked for opinions and insights onto like colors or patterns or themes or things like that, just to make it a little more fun for those of you who are watching. And again, seeing my hands up close and personal on a regular basis. But yeah, with that being said, I've got just a few more diamonds of this particular symbol, and I will probably go ahead and wrap up. I believe that was my last one. So thank you guys, as always, for watching today's video. If you're looking for more content related to this chapter of my life, please check out my diamond painting playlist, which I'll have linked in the video, which I think goes below the description box if you're watching it on your phone and maybe on your computer as well. But that way you can get to it easier. If you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content about this chapter and others. And please leave any comments or questions you have down below. Again, if you guys want to leave an emoji if you've made it this far, that's kind of related to that Christmas light story, I would greatly appreciate it. See you guys in the next one. Bye.